On July 14th, 1986, my best friend Gilbert Russick checked himself into the hospital for a minor surgical procedure. 5 years before, he'd had a hernia operation, and when they do a hernia operation, they don't put in removable stitches. So in the 5 years, one of the stitches had become infected, and it was causing a little irritation on his abdomen. It was an elective surgery, but he decided to go ahead and have it done. The doctor gave him the choice of doing it under general anesthesia or doing it under local anesthesia. It was so minor that it could have been done under local, but the doctor recommended that it be done under general just in case he had to go deeper than he expected he had to go. I'd called him that morning, and I made plans with him to pick him up the following day to take him to work. And I spent the day taking a young man from Germany who had come to stay with us and who had spent a week at Gilbert's house the week before to the wine country. So this guy and I went off to the wine country, and on the way home we stopped to get a gift for Gilbert. And when I got home, Tom met me with the news that someone had called to tell me Gilbert had had a heart attack. I spent the next hour frantically calling everybody that I knew who had any information about the situation, and each person gave me a worse and worse report. Finally, all I could do was to sit there and wait for someone to get final word. And I got a call from the tenant in his house who told me that Gilbert died. All I remember doing is screaming and saying, how could he possibly have died? He was so healthy. But as it turned out, he wasn't healthy. He had a pituitary tumor that nobody realized, and the anesthesia reacted adversely with a pituitary tumor and caused a massive heart attack. I guess he was in recovery for several hours before he finally died. It'll be 20 years this year since he died. On or about this day, a group of us get together and we have a dinner that sort of commemorates his life. Gilbert was an actor. He was a musician. When I first met him, not really met him, but when I first became aware of him, he was the leading patterman for the Lamplighters Musical Theater. For those who don't know what a patterman is, that's the guy that sings all the fast numbers in Gilbert and Sullivan. And I loved watching him perform and had a crush on him, and I dragged Walt back several times to see all of the shows that he was in. When I helped to work on a book about the Lamplighters in 1976, I got to know him for the first time. And in 1981, I went to work for the company. And Gilbert and I became very good friends. He became my best friend over the course of the next 5 years. We worked together, we socialized together, we wrote shows together. People said that he was such a private person that I was probably the one who was the closest to him. As an actor, the two shows for which he was the most known were Jack Point in Yeoman of the Guard, which is Gilbert and Sullivan's one serious operetta. His performance was so moving that they always brought the lights up at the end of the show very slowly because people were crying. The other role that he was best known for was Coco in the Mikado.
I've got a little list of society offenders who might well be underground and who never would be missed. There's the pest, Catashop. For years I have... For years I have loved you with a white-hot passion that is slowly but surely consuming my very vitals. Shrink not from me.
He was so famous as Coco in the Mikado that when I designed the program for his memorial service, I used a picture of Coco on the front of it. The last performance that he did of Coco was in about 1984. He was at the end of his acting career. He was having difficulty reading lines, and he didn't feel that he could move around the stage as easily as he used to.
Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen, just me, for being a wonderful, wonderful audience.
So he was not happy with this performance, though I think a lot of people wouldn't have known the difference. By now, the Lamplighters had added an orchestra, and so he became the conductor of the orchestra and then was hired by the company as its musical director. Several years of his life, he was the musical director for the company. After he died, I wrote a book, which was a follow-up to the book I had helped with several years before. And the whole purpose for writing this book was that I wanted to record the things that he did at the end of his life, which I felt kind of were the highlight of his life, were the kinds of accomplishments that he made at the end of his life. So tonight we'll meet again, our little group. We'll meet for the 19th time, and we probably won't talk about Gilbert very much, but we will raise a toast in his honor. He would be absolutely flabbergasted to know that this little group has stayed together for 19 years. For me, it's my only chance to see these people because they live in San Francisco and I live here. But it's a nice little tribute. Gilbert was a very special person in my life. The period of time that I spent as his friend was really a golden period, and I still miss him today. But I'm very glad that he was a part of my life for the short time that he was.